everyone. Welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch Muppet Treasure Island 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a first-time guest, longtime friend of Tough Pigs. Guest, introduce yourself, please.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. My name is Will Carroll. I am so happy to be here.
Thank you, Will. It's a thrill to have you. So for those who might not know, Will, you've had your art spotlighted on Tough Pigs before, correct?
Yes, sir, I have.
And you contributed to the Great Muppet Mural that we did some years ago. How long ago was that now? A couple years?
3 years ago.
I guess 2021, yeah.
That's how I met everybody, all of you guys, especially Joe, Shane, Matthew, Jamie, and I am just been a happier person just being a part of this great community of people.
Aw, that's great. I love it. And can you remind us who you drew for the mural so people can go look up your characters?
I drew Wendell Porcupine and a couple of doozers with a pencil.
Oh, right. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I just put a pencil there as a placeholder, and when I was talking to Jamie, I was going to do something different, like put a doozer stick in, but he was like, oh, no, you don't. You're keeping a pencil, Buster.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love that. All right. Well, it is a joy to be joined by Will today for minutes 55 and 56 of Muppet Treasure Island. In these minutes, Captain Smollett launches a cunning plan to get rid of the pirates, but Silver has a cunning plan of his own. Also, here's the thing about this scene. Everyone repeats everything.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like half a scene then, right?
Yeah. So we start with Jim hopping up on deck to go talk to Captain Smollett. Last time, Jim was hiding in the apple barrel with Gonzo and Rizzo, and he heard Long John plot to take over the ship and all that. So now he hops up on deck. We find Captain Smollett talking to Sweetums, a.k.a. the helmsman, which is another thing that we saw last week. The end of the last clip, he was like, helmsman, come over here, or whatever. And now he's saying it again. But Jim rushes up to him and asks to speak with him. And Smollett's like, oh, I'm busy. But then Jim tells him everything that we just saw in the last scene. Long John is planning a mutiny. He's got the treasure map. And much like us, Kermit sees because he says, I see. Yeah, and then Gonzo says, yeah, to also confirm that we just saw it.
It is happening. I do like that they did it this way. I'm glad this is not one of those scenes where they run up and they're like, Captain Smollett, we have to tell you something right this second. I can't wait. And he's just like, no, tell me later. And then they just drop it. Like on Lost, the TV show. That's something that people complained about all the time. Like, I need to ask you an important question. No, ask me later. Like, he actually finds out. They tell him. Well,
it's that thing in fiction where on a TV show or a movie, we have a limited amount of time with the characters, right? Yeah. But in real life, those people would see each other for as long as a day is. Like, right. On TV, it's very easy to be like, I have to tell you this, cut it off, and they don't get a chance to talk again. The one I always think of is, Ryan, do you think I can spoil Gilmore Girls season 6?
Okay, everybody, Gilmore Girls season 6 spoilers coming up in just a few seconds. If you don't want to be spoiled, maybe skip ahead a minute or two. Okay, go ahead.
So there's this whole thing where Luke Danes finds out that he has a secret daughter named April. And he doesn't find the chance to tell Lorelai this for many episodes.
Because this is when they've started a relationship finally.
Yes, and they're staying at each other's houses a lot and stuff. Right. And there are many scenes where he's about to tell her and then something comes up and he doesn't. But in real life, if they're staying over at each other's houses, they're together all the time. Like it's not 42 minutes a week. It's many hours a day, and he would just find the time 5 minutes later from what we see or whatever, So that always bothers me because movies, I don't need everything to be realistic, but like that specific thing never feels realistic because in real life you have more time than you do in any kind of filmed narrative.
Right. I kind of think that, think about it. You're a captain of a ship and a cabin boy's coming up towards you. Do you think you have time to listen to what he's saying when you're trying to get people out of the ship?
I guess not. He does say I'm kind of busy though. He tries to wave him off.
Yeah, and actually I'll go ahead since we're going in depth on this. I'll tell you in the June 1st, 1994 draft of the screenplay, they do play it that way where Gonzo and Rizzo, I think Jim is there too, runs up and says, "We have to tell you something," and he says, "Not now, boys." And then they that's it. They don't actually tell him what they have to tell him. So it just feels like kind of an artificial way to create conflict or to create suspense. So I'm glad in this final version of the movie they don't do it that way.
Yeah, very good decision to change it. But so what Captain Smollett does do is he calls to Long John Silver and he tells him to take the crew ashore for water and provisions at once and to take as long as he wants. And here's what I like. The crew cheers that they get to go ashore.
For years, I never understood this. What was Kermit's plan here? I mean, why would he send Long John to shore? I mean, listen, I'm an idiot. I never read the book, so I didn't know if this was like a plot point or anything, but
it's not.
Why? I never understood his reasoning for, having the pirates go to shore. I mean, what was the point?
Well, we're going to find out in a few seconds, right?
He says it later in this clip that he's just going to leave them there.
Yeah, that's his
plan. Well, I mean, they have the map, so what are they going to accomplish?
Well, they don't know that the pirates have the map yet, but Kermit's idea is leave the bad guys on the island, all the good guys are still on the ship, and the good guys leave, and the bad guys are...
Well, I mean, Jim did just tell him Long John is planning a mutiny and he's got the treasure map. So Kermit
he did mention the map. You're right.
He, even if he doesn't know it, he knows that Jim has said it. Whether or not you believe a 12-year-old, he knows Jim told him that,
Yeah.
But Will, I think the answer to your question is this movie has a poor screenplay.
No, I don't think I disagree on that for this particular point, because I think as long as the pirates are stuck on the island, it doesn't really matter if they have the treasure map. I mean, we'll see when he explains his plan in a second, but he says they're going to come back in a year. A lot of the pirates would probably be dead. If the pirates find the treasure and they're stuck on the island for a year, it's going to be pretty easy for Captain Smollett to just waltz in and take what's left of the treasure.
Well, but they're not going on to Treasure Island right now, right? They're not going to Treasure Island for water and provisions. They're going to a port of some kind.
Oh, no, I mean,
isn't this the island?
Is it?
I think this was the island because after this is the big number, and they immediately look for the treasure.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So then the question is, what provisions are they going to find?
Well, that's a good question. I guess like fruit,
coconuts, bananas, wild boars.
Maybe. Yeah, I was going to say maybe some animals they could kill and eat.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I forgot to mention this at the top of the show, but I heard it was, what's the word I'm looking for here? No, complimentary for first-time guests to have a rap.
Okay.
And I wrote a rap. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
My name's WC, and I'm here to say I love margaritas at the midnight buffet. But Anthony and Ryan as my host ashore. I'm so amazed Anthony finds this flick. Abhor. It's Tim Curry and the Muppets. What more do you want? Would it have been better in Pete's restaurant? I get that I'm younger, and I've seen this film a lot. At least you could say, I'm too hot to trot. I'm at the end of my rap, and I'm giving my thanks. Let's hope that my honesty won't make me walk the plank.
Great. Love it. Love it.
And what a twist that it came in the middle.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah.
No, but
I want to thank my mother. She helped me write that.
Oh, nice.
To answer the question, what more do I want? I don't know, man. Comedy? All right.
Aww.
So,
you're not getting it here, man.
That's true. There's very little comedy in this picture. All right. So, what happens? The crew cheers after Kermit says go ashore. The crew goes nuts.
Yeah.
And Long John then repeats himself twice. He says, "Sir, 'tis a task to my liking." That it is, sir. So he says sir twice. He confirms twice that it is a task to his liking.
I feel like the crew cheering is sort of giving their game away a little bit, but he's still very businesslike, and
he's very in character.
When Captain Smollett first calls on him, he's still very formal, like that. Aye, sir. So he's not giving it away yet.
Right. And then Kermit repeats himself immediately because he says, "Quickly, boys, gather the officers and meet me in my quarters. Quickly."
Wow, I did not notice this many examples of people repeating.
It's so many, and it's like I don't know why.
I saw this clip again 2 minutes before we recorded, and seriously, I'm just not realizing all the repeating. I mean, am I just oblivious to redundancy?
You are oblivious to redundancy and repetition and repetition and redundancy. So
Couldn't have said it better myself.
that's why I got a cart kiosk permit. All right. So then, but after Kermit says, quickly, boys, quickly, on the lifeboat, Polly reminds us again what we already knew. He says,
yeah, this definitely
Long
feels
John.
like exposition for the kids in the audience.
Right. Like, we saw them take the map. We heard them tell Long John that they have the map. We saw Jim tell Kermit that they have the map. And now Polly says again, this is a lucky break, the captain letting us go ashore. Us with the map and all. It's like giving the treasure to us on a silver platter.
Previously in Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, yes, movie, we know that the pirates have the map. Settle down. You don't need to tell us so many times. But then Long John, once again, having said, 'tis a test of my liking, that it is, sir, he says to Polly now, aye, that it is, Polly. Never trust a silver platter. Which is I think never trust a silver platter is a good line.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he says that it is immediately again, having to say.
And so another thing I like here is that Captain Smollett and Long John are both thinking so quickly. They're both thinking on their feet, immediately suspicious of the other. Like, neither of them is dumb.
Right.
Oh,
right.
sure. Like, I'll just let them go along with whatever they want to do. They both immediately suspect that the other is up to something.
There's one thing that I was realizing as I watched this. How has nobody, noticed that Polly, Monty, and Clueless were out of the brig and onto the lifeboat? I mean, you think Kermit would have been like, hey, those hooligans are out of there. Get them back in the brig or something. Like, they didn't notice they were gone?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. That they're out right now. I guess there's so much chaos happening. Nobody comments on it, but that's a really good point.
I mean, I was able to notice, Fozzie talking to Mr. Bimbo. You think Kermit would have noticed the lobster and Harry Monster's deranged twin and the dead goat just getting into the boat? I don't know.
Yeah.
You would think so, yeah. You would think so.
They're supposed to still be under lock and key.
But then what happens next is that Long John reaches up and puts his crutch back on the deck. And as he does this, Bunsen and Beaker walk by. And we hear Bunsen say, follow me, Beaky, come along. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to see where they're going. I want to see what those two are doing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, how are they preparing for the ship reaching the island?
Yeah. And we actually talked about this pretty early on in the movie. It feels like Bunsen and Beaker are going to be bigger characters in the movie than they actually end up being. And I kind of wish they had some more, featured sequences.
Another
they have
science
a few,
experiment.
right? Yeah, they like the lampshade cure, or the window shade cure. Give me more of that, you know. But it's nice to see them here, certainly. So then, Long John, knowing that Jim is a sucker for adventure, says, Jim lad, there's room in the boat for one more. Come along for an adventure. And I like that. I like that he knows the word adventure is going to hook Jim in.
Yeah.
Right? And Jim says he can't. The captain needs him. Long John then says, what a shame. I'll miss you, lad. That I will. Which is very much of a piece with the two that it is earlier. And Tim Curry sells all of these, to be clear. Like,
of course, yeah.
Tim Curry's great in this sequence. He's real terrific, I think. I mean, he always is. Like, I think, who's going to argue?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's going to argue with that.
I don't think so. I mean, there has to be a movie where Tim Curry was still like the worst part. I mean, has that ever happened?
I cannot imagine that happening. No.
Not that I can think of.
He was going to be the Joker in the Batman animated series, but they had to turn him down. I mean, they turned down Tim Curry. Who the hell does that?
Mark Hamill's incredible in that role, though. So it's kind of hard to be too sad about it.
I know. I'm sure Tim Curry would have been great as the Joker, but it's hard to argue with Mark Hamill's performance.
Yeah. But Long John then tricks Jim into handing him his crutch. And speaking of Tim Curry being great, we see this flash of nervousness on his face as he's trying to take the crutch from Jim. We see this look like it's not going to work, like he's not going to be able to do this. And he asks Jim to come closer, and then he pulls him in. And then the pirates all laugh as Calico Jerry rows them away. And it's nice to see Calico Jerry get something to do.
Yeah, and the beggar Muppet is in the boat also with them.
Yeah, that's great. Love to see that guy. But you know who's on the deck? New Zealand.
Oh. And that wolf from the Linda Carter episode.
That's true. That's right. And that wolf puppet is so cool looking, I think.
Yeah, and he's watching this whole exchange between Long John and Jim very like with great interest. He's looking back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah, he's like looking directly at them. It's great.
Yeah.
I wonder who the puppeteer was for that.
Yeah.
Because we talk about like the Muppet upstaging stuff, and
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of it.
Can you imagine how painful it must have been for Kevin Bishop to fall into that lifeboat with the puppets and the guys at the bottom like, oh, this kid weighs a ton.
Yeah, I did
Oh,
think
that's
about
true,
that.
yeah.
They must be all the puppeteers must be just kind of crammed under all those supplies and sandbags and whatever else. Yeah, it's not a glamorous job.
But then again, I mean, I imagine the puppets might have cushioned Jim's fall as he fell into the boat.
That's true.
Oh yeah, it's easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
I have some notes about this part of the scene where the pirates grab Jim and they're taking him off. For one thing, when they drag him in, Jim actually punches Clueless Morgan in the face.
Oh,
is that right?
that.
I'm gonna go look.
Huh.
Yeah, I watched this movie for years, but just now, looking at the 2 minutes you sent me, I just noticed that, he immediately clocks Clueless.
Wow. I noticed that Clueless is laughing maniacally for several
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, that's great. He's laughing as though he had just heard a good joke.
Yeah.
Like he's laughing specifically like in reaction to something.
Yeah, well, it's
let's see now. Here's Jim in there. Yeah, he punches Clueless right in the face, and
Wow.
Clueless starts laughing immediately after.
Oh, maybe
Must be
that's what he
punch
thinks
drunk.
is so funny. Oh yeah, he's literally punch drunk.
Yeah, it's great. Love it.
Sorry, one more thing. Also, this scene reminds me, have you guys seen The Jungle Book?
The 1967 animated film?
Yes.
Yes.
That scene reminds me, when the monkeys take Mowgli and he's, fighting him off. He's trying to punch him and whack at him. And that's what Jim's doing. He's like, he punches Clueless. He's kicking at Polly and he's trying to get free, but it's, a fruitless endeavor because he's a weakling.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. I Want to Be Like You is awesome. We should watch that.
Yeah.
I imagine if Tim Curry played Louie in the 2016 movie.
That would have, it's because Christopher Walken's such an odd choice anyway.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like you've never seen the movie, right, Ryan?
No, I haven't.
It's not a great movie. Christopher Walken sings "I Want to Be Like You" in the movie,
Huh? Okay.
And they got Dick Sherman to write a new verse.
Whoa! Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
And he plays him like a mafioso don, like, hey, call me Louie.
Yeah.
Huh.
Kermit then reveals his plan, which we discussed earlier, but here it is. His plan is to leave once the pirates are ashore, set sail, and return in a year or so, because by then all the fight should be out of them.
A year.
A year? That's a very long time.
That is a long time to just leave them to their own devices on an island.
Can you imagine what they would have done themselves waiting for a year for these guys to kill themselves off? I mean, imagine all the Carmen Miranda numbers they would have with all the cabin fever.
That's true.
But seriously, I mean, a year? Did they think this through? Did they have enough provisions to last a year at sea?
No, it seems like they're just leaving them to fend for themselves.
It seems sort of uncharacteristic for this version of Kermit to just be like, who cares? We'll see how they, we'll come back and see if they're still alive a year from now.
You guys never seem to be satisfied with Kermit. Either he's too milquetoast or he's too ruthless. Make up your minds.
No, what I'm saying is this is too ruthless for this movie's milquetoast version of Kermit.
I mean, I guess frogs have to grow a spine at some point, and when decisions happen, it just happens. I don't know.
Yeah. He has to make a decision.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't have to be a choice between Kermit being boring or bloodthirsty. Like, I feel like there are other versions of like.
No, I think Kermit,
for example, get a job at a luncheonette. He could be a crack investigative reporter.
At the luncheonette, he should have been like cutting people with knives left and right. I want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should have been in the Great
Yes, exactly.
In the Great Muppet Caper, he should have been like, "I know all about your career, pig," and then just like thrown her in the river. And let her
totally.
drown.
Just let's just.
That actually reminds me of a picture I saw a while ago online. It was like a Muppet Sweeney Todd, and Kermit was like, he was dressed as Sweeney, and Piggy was Mrs. Lovitz, and at one point Kermit's like, "My arm finally grew back," and he's holding a razor. He goes, "Yay!" Can you imagine? Like, he lost.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Again, we're on tangents here.
Yeah, that's. I mean, as who was it on the Discord? It was either Joe or Becca. One of our previous guests pointed out that like all I do is bring up other shows and movies. This season. So I really am sorry, listeners.
No, I'm
Um,
sorry. I brought all this stuff up.
Well, not all of it. I talked about Gilmore Girls for like 5 minutes.
To be
All right,
clear, this is what we do though on this podcast.
that's true. It is what we've always done. But so Kermit. Anyways, Kermit having said his plan, Bunsen is very excited about this.
Yes.
He is excitedly swinging his fists like he's raring to go.
He's giddy.
And he says, "Ooh, now I understand. That's a brilliant plan," which is a nice moment for him. And then Rizzo says, except for one thing, the pirates have Jim.
Oh.
And of course, we, the audience, already knew this, right?
Yes.
Like, then we see the same boat that we already saw with the pirates and Jim on it. But, so here's my question. Am I just cynical, or is the movie playing this like it's, like we're supposed to be, like, it feels weird, because they're playing it like a reveal, but we already knew it. I don't know.
I think
yeah.
it's maybe just emphasizing the hopelessness of it. Like all these other, it's dramatic irony, right? All these other characters thought that Kermit, in the heat of the moment, had immediately come up with this great foolproof plan, and then suddenly, like all of their hopes and optimism is gone.
Yeah,
because they can't leave without Jim.
I think it could have worked if, when they were doing, like, if they did the part where, John pulls him in with the crutch, like, they cut it off, and then we cut back to Kermit in the cabin, and then we see, the pirates have Jim. Like, we don't see them, drag Jim into the ship, so it's not as redundant.
Yeah, no, you're right. That would have been better, I think.
It's obvious Lon John is up to something, but we don't exactly see him pull Jim into the boat. We just see, like, him, I don't know.
Yeah, that could have been a little more suspenseful.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it again, it's just the movie telling us the same stuff twice in a row. I don't know if the whole movie is like this, but man, this scene sure feels like it is over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already said that, so I'm repeating myself. Anyway.
Wow, everyone's repeating themselves.
I do it all the time.
Everyone's repeating themselves.
I do it all the time.
So, yeah, but what if he doesn't?
Oh, he will, all right.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't?
That's from Dog City, the Dog City episode of the Jim Henson Hour.
Go watch Dog City, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners.
Yeah, that was great.
If you've never seen Dog City, watch that. Like, you've probably seen Muppet Treasure Island before. You don't need to watch Muppet Treasure Island again. Go watch Dog City. It rules. It's so good.
It's true. It does rule.
But anyway, so then Kermit looks around for a few seconds and then wrinkles his face to show that he's worried. And then we see the boat, and then we see a second boat with Sweetums in it, Black Eyed Pea, and some other guys.
Sweetums rowing the boat looks very cool.
Looks radical. I love it.
It makes sense that he's rowing because, he's the only one with articulate hands.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's the helmsman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That was one thing I was wondering with the minutes we have. Like, how are they doing that? Like, having the Muppets in the boat as they're rowing? Because before I was wondering, how did they get them in the lifeboats? But now I'm wondering, like, because when Sweetums puts his oars in the water, there's actual water. Like, they must be in a pool of some kind, and they can pile it in. But there's there's other Muppets in there too, so they must be, like, very scrunched up in the bottom of the boat, and like.
Yeah, so they had a very large stage at the studio, and they did build. I had some numbers on it somewhere. I forget how many, like thousands or millions, maybe, but at least thousands of gallons of water they had in this giant tank. But I'm sure that's what this is for shots like this. And then there's some, I think, we see the ship against the sky in the background of the shot too.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that's one of these shots that they filmed when they rented a garbage barge and just went out on the open ocean, and then later they matted the miniature of the ship onto the garbage barge, or just onto the footage of the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the problem. I was just worrying about, like, how they got more than, Sweetums on that boat, because he's, like, the only Muppet I can see on a boat like that. Because if there are other Muppets on there and, like, crunched down all the way at the bottom, like, I don't know, it must be uncomfortable for, like, a few seconds.
Oh, yeah, well, they had to cram in there, I guess, yeah.
Because there's, like, Spotted Dick and Old Tom on that boat with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Old Tom, yeah. And then, but then as we see those guys row out of frame, they leave the frame at exactly the second this clip ends, which is so satisfying.
Yes.
One of our best ever.
But something else just enters the frame, though, on the other side.
Oh, I see. I wasn't even looking at the other side.
Oh, okay. On the left edge of the frame, we start to see just the front of a very small boat piloted by a rat.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right.
And then
That's
the
true.
clip ends. Yeah, and that's so we don't know what's going on with that. Is this like, are the rats going with the pirates? What's happening there? We don't know. We'll have to wait until next week to find out.
To me, that was not satisfying.
No. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, but that does bring us down to the end. So, Will, any thoughts about these 2 minutes? Any additional thoughts before we close?
That was not satisfying when the rats came in because we cut off just when we got to one of my favorite jokes.
Oh,
I'm
well,
sorry.
do you have any specific thoughts on that joke?
Well, yes, because like I told Ryan before we recorded, that was relatable to me because growing up, we lived at a shore house down by Long Beach, and we used to take the boat out and jet ski as well. And at points I was like, "Please stop! I want to get off! I don't want to die!" And everyone's like, "What's he saying? Go faster! No, stop!" And that's the same thing with the rats here. I'm getting tired. He said, "Go faster!" No, I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
I felt that relatable. I mean, I'm not a rat, but
Yeah,
I'm from
no,
Jersey, so that helps.
Sounds very similar.
Sure.
But for the 2 minutes as a whole, I mean, like you said, it's very redundant. It's very played out. It could have been better, and it reminded me of a movie I could have been watching. But I still love it. Like the Jungle Book, we talked about it.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. All right, Ryan, any other thoughts or anything else from the screenplay?
I had one other thing from the screenplay draft, which is it would be sort of between last week's clip and this week's clip because right after Statler and Waldorf say "land ho," in the draft there are some rats talking, and they see the island. One of them says, "Is that what I think it is?" And the other one says, "Yeah, it's a matte painting." I like that.
That's a very Monty Python joke.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had left that in. I suspect that they assumed most people in the audience wouldn't know what a matte painting is.
Yeah.
But for those of us movie nerds, I think it would have been a very welcome joke. But yeah.
Who wrote this movie again? Because every time we get to this part where we talk about the script drafts, there's always Python jokes that get rejected. I mean, was there a British writer in the writer's room or?
No. So it was the Ghost of Christmas Past, Jerry Jewell, the Ghost of Christmas Future, Kirk Thatcher, and I don't know, the guy who wrote Hook, James V. Hart.
Okay, Jerry and Kirk are
all American.
All Americans, yes.
Jim Hart also American.
Okay, so I mean, somebody must be a Pythons fan. Otherwise, I mean, why wouldn't they keep these jokes in? Because that was actually funny.
Yeah. I mean, I would guess probably Kirk and Jerry both appreciated Monty Python, if I had to guess.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
John
Cleese was on the Muppet Show.
Right, I was going to say Jerry Jewell was in London working on the Muppet Show. Oh, I guess not quite. Yeah, no, not quite overlapping with Monty Python's Flying Circus. But those guys were
overlapping with Monty Python, right?
Yeah.
Life of Brian came out while the Muppet Show was on.
Right, exactly.
So they were still a team. They were still working.
I'm sure they appreciated that comedy.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I just wish there was more of that in the movie.
Sure. Yeah. So I have a couple of brief notes from The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In the novel, so we talked about how Jim hears Long John threatening a fellow sailor to join the pirates from the Apple Barrel. So Jim does, in fact, go to talk to Captain Smollett, to tell him what he heard, to tell him that Long John is a traitor and all that stuff. But none of this with send them ashore, that does not happen. What does happen is that Captain Smollett had suspected that there was foul play among the crew earlier. And Squire Trelawney says, "Now, Captain," said the Squire, "you were right and I was wrong. I own myself an ass, and I await your orders."
What?
Meaning, I admit that I was wrong. I was being silly, foolish.
Okay.
A jackass in the sense of silly and foolish.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, I own myself an ass.
Yeah.
And I await your orders.
Huh.
But the captain says, "No more an ass than I, sir. I never heard of a crew that meant to mutiny, but what showed signs before, for any man that had an eye in his head to see the mischief and take steps according. But this crew," he added, "beats me." So then what the captain ends up doing is, well, gentlemen, said the captain, we must lay to, if you please, and keep a bright lookout. It's trying on a man, I know. It would be pleasanter to come to blows, but there's no help for it till we know our men. Lay to and whistle for a wind, that's my view. So he's basically like, until we get to the island, we can't do anything about it.
Okay.
You know, like, these guys might stage a mutiny, but for now, just keep our heads down and try to treat them like the crew so they don't know we know.
Yeah.
If Squire Trelawney owes Smollett an ass, what does Mr. Bimbo owe him?
No, he owns himself an ass. He's calling himself an ass. He's calling Mr. So Squire Trelawney in the book actually doesn't have a very strong opinion of Mr. Bimbo. They're not nearly as close.
Somebody on the writing set must have thought Mr. Bimbo had potential to be a star.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, of course there's no Mr. Bimbo in the book, but
I know, that was meant to be a joke.
I know. That's why I said of course. But if he was, well, it'd be a very different book. So anyways, Will, we always ask all of our guests 2 questions. First of all, what's your history with the movie Muppet Treasure Island?
Well, Anthony, you know how I hate to talk about myself, but leave us turn back the clock. It was on the Upper Side of Staten Island where my parents and I'm gonna stop a bit here, but anyways, unlike the rest of you guys, movie in theaters, I saw it on VHS as a kid. This, along with, Christmas Carol and Muppets from Space, were the biggest Muppet things in my life. I saw all these movies in constant rotation, but this one is the one I saw the most, along with From Space. And it wasn't until I was 8 that I saw more than just those 3 movies, like the original Muppet movie and Caper and the rest of the movies, and the Muppet Show. I mean, that was impressive. And one other side thing, because I saw this movie so much, and when I saw Muppet from Space with my dad, when we saw Sam at the beginning, giving that exercise class to the chicken, he's like, "Oh, look, it's Mr. Arrow." Even I knew, that's not Mr. Arrow. That's Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he thought that was Sam's actual name.
Yeah.
And so how old are you when you saw Muppets from Space and your dad is calling you Mr. Arrow about? Do you know?
Okay, well, I saw these movies like back to back in like the mid 2000s.
Okay,
on
sure,
VHS.
Sure.
I'm 27, so
okay.
I think I'm like the youngest guy on the show.
We've had younger guests than you, but you're towards the bottom, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else saw it in theaters. I mean, I wish I knew what that was like.
I mean, it's fine. You've seen other movies in theater.
Yeah, but
it's a very similar experience.
Yeah, but I love the Muppets. That would have been great just seeing a Muppet movie on the big screen, but that didn't happen for me in my young life until the 2011 movie.
Right.
Sure,
I mean,
so
you do have an idea. I mean, it was like that. It was like, wow, I love the Muppets, and now here they are with a new movie in theaters.
Yeah.
It was weird for me knowing that the Muppets had their own weekly variety show, because for me as a kid, I always thought the Muppets were a movie exclusive because all I saw of them was movies, like the 3 I mentioned, along with It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas, and eventually the Muppet movie, The Great Muppet Caper, and then that. But when I was 8, I finally saw the Muppet Show, and I was surprised to see that they had their own show. I did not know that as a kid.
Yeah.
I think that's probably happened with a lot of people born in the 90s and later. And then maybe some people were even surprised when the Muppet Show appeared on Disney Plus, and it's like, oh wow, there's all these episodes of these characters that I didn't even know about or had never seen.
Good, I'm not alone.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm sure
I think there are others.
Right.
I mean, did that ever happen with you guys? I mean, I know you're older, but
so I've probably said this on the show before, but my introduction to the Muppet Show was not the Muppet Show. It was checking the Muppet Show book out of the public library. I read that thing so many times. Which is, are you familiar with the book, Will? The Muppet Show book?
Yes, I actually got that on eBay when I was around the same age, 8.
Sure, yeah. So I did see the show on Nickelodeon, starting around when I was in 3rd grade, I think. But the book was my main Muppet Show thing, like all through my childhood and into my teen years. And like I read it so many times. So I knew the show existed, but it was much more of a printed word thing for me than a TV show, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a weird thing, like, there's more.
So
right.
Anthony, every time the Muppets come out with a new show or movie or special, are you disappointed that it's not a book?
I would love there to be a gorgeously painted, like, highlights from Muppets Now.
Right,
book.
yeah.
I would
Muppets
greatly
Now,
prefer it. I would greatly prefer that to the TV show Muppets Now.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyways, Muppets Now. I've seen one episode. Hey, Will, where do you rank Muppet Treasure Island among the Muppet movies now that you've seen them all?
Loaded question. I'd have to say maybe third or fourth behind the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper, which is at the very tippy top of the list.
Okay.
I actually,
All right.
yeah, I mean, I still love this movie, unlike some people in this hall.
That's fine. No, yeah, different opinions are good and healthy, and that's how we foster a healthy society, is by disagreeing in a civil manner.
Yeah, but anyways, I still love this movie. I might need to rewatch the whole thing just to get a better opinion, but I'd still hold it high.
Good.
I mean, depending on how I feel about the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me as a kid, this was it. This was all I loved. But now I've seen the other movies, I have a better understanding of what makes a good Muppet movie.
Sure. Yeah. No, it makes sense. All right. So thank you. And that just about brings us down to the end. So listeners, thank you for joining us. As always, we'll be back next week with another episode. But in the meantime, you can check out toughpigs.com on the internet. We're on Facebook. We're on various, Twitter replacements that aren't doing very well. We're all over. Earlier, by the time this comes out, I guess this will be old news, but we ran some very good articles about Muppets from Space for its anniversary, Muppets Take Manhattan for its 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
Our previous and once and future guest, J.D. Hansel, spearheaded a very interesting series about how Muppets reflect the neurodiverse community and vice versa, how they relate to one another. That's been a great series. So go check out all that stuff. I didn't write any of these articles I'm mentioning, but we've done some really good stuff on the website that you should definitely read.
It's all there, toughpigs.com.
Yeah. You can follow Ryan on Blue Sky at me, Ryan Rowe. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Durwood Clapper. You can follow Ryan on Letterboxd at Movies Are Neat, and me on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist. Will, where can our listeners find you and or your work online?
Well, you can find me on Twitter on ToonheadLover97, or X as it's called, which is annoying. And you can find me on Instagram, where most of my art is posted, on Toonhead0215. And you can, in case you haven't noticed, I love cartoons.
Sure, man. Sure, so do we. You know that. But thank you so much for joining us, Will. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Ditto. I love being here, and I can't wait to come back again at some point, because honestly, I just love you guys so much.
Aw, thanks, Will. That's very sweet. All right. Well, listeners, we will be back next week with another episode. See you then. Goodbye.
Everyone's repeating themselves.
Everyone's repeating themselves.